What goals did you set for 2025? If better sleep is one, Symbiotica's magnesium L-threonate helps you wake up refreshed. For gut health, their glutathione supports digestion and reduces bloating. Symbiotica is one of the most transparent brands out there, never compromising on quality or sourcing. Their products are free from seed oils, preservatives, toxins, and artificial additives, something you can taste and feel in every packet. Go to Symbiotica.com and use code iHeart for 20% off and free shipping. That's Symbiotica.com, code iHeart.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/getstarted. That's GREENLIGHT.com/getstarted.
Come on, guys. This is going to be fun.
I guess so.
Come on. It's for the show. We're doing the Battle of Agincourt this week. These authentic outfits are going to help us get into the spirit.
All right. I don't want these outfits.
All right, guys. Let me see them. Come on. Let me see.
All right, well, here's the thing. Hey,
okay, this is a pretty good first try. I mean, obviously, Eli, you have the pauldron on your knee. That's actually shoulder armor, so you're going to want to move that. And it looks like the elbow cop's a little tight, but we can let that out a bit. No big deal.
Okay, how do I let it out?
Oh no, we've got. I got a blacksmith I can hook you up with. It's
you
no big
have
deal.
a blacksmith?
Well, I mean, not a blacksmith, but multiple blacksmiths.
What? Joining this part of your life. This is
Come here, Tom.
Right.
Let me look at you. Oh, Eli, of course, your gorget is under your doublet. Let me fix that.
No, none of these words. No, seriously, I don't know where you think you're going to touch me right now.
I'm going to touch you in your neck because you're all neck.
No,
but come on over here for a second. Don't worry. You're going to get used to it. Well, everyone line up for your milk leg shots and we'll get ready to go.
Okay. Do you have a soy one for me?
Sadly, good gentle, wide distribution of soy milk is out of period.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article. I thought it was a lovely just tone and cadence of the way I said it, and it was normal.
Felt rushed.
Hello.
I'm glad to see I'm not going to be the only bitchy one on this show.
And welcome to Citation Needed.
I feel like you should rush this.
Is this the pace?
It should be rushed.
This is the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because America is great again, and that's how it works now. I'm Heath, and I'll be helping us retake Castle Grayskull this week. But I won't be storming it alone. Please welcome the first wave in the assault, our Ram Man, and our King Randor, Tom and Cecil.
I don't make it to the gates every time, but when I do, my penetration rate is quite high.
You're just banging your face off women's crotches.
Get stuck in there. Fuck! It's hard to get extricated.
Well, it's good to be the king. That's what I say.
And also joining us tonight is the second wave, our Beastman and our Skeletor, Eli and Noah.
I assume I'm Beastman because of my communion with the world of pugs.
Not why, but yeah.
I just want to point out that skeleton or no, Skeletor was fucking ripped.
He was weirdly jacked up.
Jacked, man.
Yeah, and he wrote that great book about who stole feminism. He's got lots of good points.
All right, before we get started, we'd like to thank the Citation Needed army of patrons for making it all possible. If you'd like to join their ranks, just pull out your wallet and scream, "By the power of paywall." We'll give you all the details at the end of the show. All right, well, I'm pretty much done working because I'm the host guy this week, so please don't involve me in your weird little conversation about Cecil's wet dream or whatever it is. All right, great. with that out of the way, tell us, Eli, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
Today, Cecil will be talking about the Battle of Agincourt, and we will be struggling to keep up. Like a Kenyan at a marathon.
And Cecil, you read the article on Wikipedia and no doubt reenacted the whole thing. Are you ready to bring us back to the 15th century?
I'm only doing it if you guys wear the costumes.
Oh, God, not this shit again. All right.
A costume.
Oh,
Etc.
You made this codpiece too roomy on purpose.
why does mine have a cock cage in it? That doesn't even seem necessary. It's weird.
It's a financial chastity belt, Tom. Don't worry about it.
It's a medieval prenup.
You can only give her 42%.
We're going to see if a kid who likes cereal can fuck that cage. Got to listen to the whole show, otherwise that's just a weird thing I said.
All right. So, Cecil, tell us about the Battle of Agincourt.
You have to ask like it says in the parchment that I gave you.
Dude, where'd you get animal skin? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Fine. Good day to you, Harold. Williest thou speak of the legend of the Battle of Agincourt forthwith?
Oh, Jesus. I just want to chime in and say that I have been inside an actual woman. I'm just saying, before this goes too far, like,
The last time you were inside a woman, it involved lotion in a basket.
it's
Tom.
still inside a woman. That counts.
She's holding
That
a weird
counts.
little dog.
That does count.
Don't you make me hurt your dog. All right, now where were we? Okay, so
I thought that was the Battle of Agincourt. I thought that you were reenacting it right there.
all right, let me. Good morrow to you, sir.
Oh, God
Shall I
damn it.
entreat
Jesus.
you to the wild tale of our great king Henry V and his valor on the field of combat?
No.
Oh, I'm having those you can juggle for money, but you have to wear bells flashbacks.
I was having a you can do magic, but you have to wear a bathrobe flashback. Our jobs used to be bad.
Dude advised.
We had bad jobs.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the Battle of Agincourt was a battle in the 100 Years' War. And the 100 Years' War was a conflict between England and France that lasted 116 years, for those of us pedantic enough to point that out.
Am I the only one now worried that Noah just had to bite his tongue so hard he might have lost it entirely?
You're going to be able to, Cecil's going to be able to hear me biting my tongue when he does the edit on that, actually. So you have no idea.
You had the whole fist in there for a second. I was watching.
For a second.
The 100 Years' War also wasn't really a war in the way we would think of it in modern times. It was a long conflict between two states that erupted into battles throughout the whole history. And as you can imagine, you can have a lot of fucking battles in 116 years.
Okay. Why talk about this one then?
Okay, so I think the real reason is that it's an underdog story. It's got a cocky, overpowering group getting defeated. And there's something of a social message that we all find somewhat satisfying. Rich people losing to the lower classes.
Gross.
It's also the setting for the St. Crispin's Day speech in Henry V. And so there's some historical significance around it.
Oh, Henry V was that play by Salieri, right, Eli?
Francis Bacon, I think.
I will Christine Chubbuck this podcast. I will Christine Chubbuck this podcast so hard.
It's not your birthday.
Someday it'll be my birthday. It's my birthday somewhere.
No, that's not how it...
Am I the only one here that doesn't just automatically love the underdog? I mean, there's a reason they're losers, right? It's not because they're like secretly super great, right? When it comes, we're talking about like war and it's picking sides in a war. I'm a fair weather fan. Like, who's winning? I'm on that side.
So the 100 Years' War at this point is entering its 78th year.
The Iraq War prequel?
And Henry V is the king of England, and he shouts across the English Channel, "I'm the king of France!" And no one hears him because it's like really far away.
It's like Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy. I declare bankruptcy.
So he sends for a herald or a raven or something, and he tells him that. And then, like idiots, the French sign for it.
Those process servers are nothing if not persistent. I know this.
True.
Hello, France.
Personal experience.
Yes, damn it.
So the deal is that he's not going to say he's king if the French give him 1.6 million units of money, and they're calling him crowns at this point. And then on top of that, he wants them to let him marry the King of France's daughter, and they need to throw in another 2 million crowns for the dowry. In return, he gives back 6 French states.
Right. To which the French responded, fine, yes, and let's get that out of the way. Now we surrender to Hitler too. Whenever that happens, we surrender to him.
Just please, nobody punch him. It's very important. We want the high ground here.
And by the way, if any French politicians are listening, I too am the King of France, but you can have it back. You can give it to Macron for 5 easy payments of whatever you got on you, I guess. It's fine.
Great. Noah just nailed us 5 payments of cheese, bread, and super long cigarettes.
I call the baguettes.
I get the cigarettes.
Baguettes are mine.
I get the cheese then. Fantastic. All right. I wanted the cheese.
Oh,
and then
don't work out often enough on our podcast, guys, but I feel like that one really nailed it.
I didn't get anything.
Perfect.
So Henry said that they owe him ransom for a guy they captured and returned. The guy was pretty important. It was John II, the King of France. And the French hadn't paid up in the 59 years that they had him back, probably because his freshness date on his headstone said he expired in 1364, which was 51 fucking years ago.
What? That's incredible. That's not.
I feel like Henry didn't really get ransom. France already has the hostage back, and now he's sending them like a picture of a newspaper from 50 years ago with a bill. What does he think's happening?
Right? This is not how leverage works. Like, you're supposed to send back an ear, maybe a finger. This is like kidnapping 101 shit. Take a fucking study class.
They're like cutting up illuminated manuscripts and pasting them together and sending it to him. So the French counteroffer. They say you can have the girl, or the woman. You can marry the daughter of the king. And how about 600,000 crowns? That's a lot, right? And then he disagrees and he invades.
He sells his park to himself. I've seen this one before. No, but isn't that just French history in a nutshell there? How about I let you fuck my sister instead?
Let me see your sister. I don't know.
Move to France. Sorry, I was updating my vision board. Cecil, you were saying.
So he sieges a port in Harfleur, but it takes a lot longer than expected. So with the ransacking season coming to a close, he's headed back to England. But instead of just going back out the way he came, he decides to swing a little dick. And he marches through another area called Calais in Normandy.
And what are the French doing at this point? The old rabbit season, duck season, ransack season trip?
So the French are actually gathering more people for the army at this point, thinking, fuck this fucking guy. The armies meet actually on October 24th, 1415. But the French army is in better shape and is bigger.
CrossFit, squat jacks for everybody.
The English have been marching here at this point for 2.5 weeks. They've covered almost 300 miles. They have dysentery because they drank the water, I guess, and they have very little food.
No, British people just have cultural dysentery. We've all seen their food. Beans with everything, guys. Oh, breakfast beans.
Right. I think the right amount of British food is very little. That's
exactly
perfect serving size.
So the French, on the other hand, decide to negotiate, hoping to delay the battle a little longer so more French troops can arrive. The English want a conflict where the French attack them, and the French know it, so nothing actually happens the first day.
Just the entire British army doing that, like, fake punch 2 for flinching thing. Trying to get them.
But the French keep running away. All of them. It's a big old mess. It's a whole thing.
Like, negotiate. They wanted to, like, these are did they just send over some of their prisoners and stand there with their hands on their hips expectantly? Like, well, I hope that worked. I gave them back their prisoners. So I hope it.
So the battle actually takes place the next day, not at dawn because the French don't give no fucks, because they're waiting for 8,600 more men in 3 deployments. The area of the battle is an open patch between 2 forests.
Interesting. Could you give us the exact dimensions of the battlefield? I am super curious. Metric exact dimensions, if you could.
I can absolutely do that. It's a strip of land of about 1,000 yards, which is 900 meters.
Thank you.
And this is,
I said metric.
And this is the strip, the land. 900 meters.
Did we
Appreciate
pick
it.
figurines too?
Yeah. So on the one end is the French, and on the other is the English. And then they're sort of
It'd be weird if they're on the same
They're
end.
boxed on this.
Wait, what happened? This
the
is
battle,
weird.
though.
What do
That's
we
the
do?
battle
You go
time.
back. No, we'll go back. We'll go back. This was somebody fucked this up.
Count off by 2s. All the ones
We're
stay.
just playing a game of Mother May I.
Losers
They
walk.
start the battle with Red Rover.
With the Duke of Gloucester come over. Yeah. So the patch is about 750 yards or 690 meters
Thank you,
wide.
Jesus.
50 yards.
So the English have set up these sharpened wooden stakes in the ground at a 45-degree angle to stop the archers from getting run down by the cavalry. But since the French aren't attacking, they move their stakes closer into range to try to goad the French army into like coming at them, bro.
I love this strategy. Okay, I bet you won't cross this line in the sand, though. This closer one now.
Like, for fuck's sake, like, how long does all this shit take? Like, you set up a line of stakes in the fucking dirt using ye olde tools, and then some asshole comes along and is like, no, move it over there. It's like some indecisive fucking housewife shuttling the fucking couch around the living room. Where do you want the fucking thing?
All right, got it. So we got the dimensions. It was 45 degree, you said on the stakes? Did you say 45?
degrees.
I think you said 45, right?
45.
did.
Some could
45.
be as low as 40, but really you wanted to keep it.
It's like an averages, right?
Yeah.
It's on averages.
Could you give us that in radians? Because I mean, just for everybody.
Hey, I mean this with the bottom of my heart. Fuck you.
I think that's pi over 4, everybody. Okay, so these armies, how big are we talking? The armies, size-wise.
So there's 2 eyewitness chroniclers of the battle that put the French side at around 15,000 total and 10,000 total, respectively. Some other accounts go as high as 50,000, but I'm going to use the middle number because it's still a lot of people and still a crazy underdog story. And it seems likely.
Wait, hold on. Eyewitnesses can't tell the difference between 10,000, 15,000 is fucking 50% more, and then 50,000? Like,
Right?
This is what we're basing our account of this battle on? Like, I don't know. There's either one guy there or 5 guys there.
They use the same counters that Trump used for his inauguration time.
Fair. There you go. Biggest battle. It's the biggest battle we ever had. We have the best battle.
We'd never put down the white boards under the battle before, though. It looked smaller.
Also, armies were sometimes counted with all the supporting personnel included, like cooks and blacksmiths and servants. So I'm just going to
Right.
focus on the numbers of the troops that are reported.
Oh, okay. Because we all know the French had like 4 chefs for every soldier. Like, what am I supposed to fight before the souffle cours? What am I, a fucking Saxon? No way, Jose.
There's just, why would he talk like that? There's just some guy by the campfire chiding everyone in the battle, like, keep it down, you animals. My soccer tort is going to fall.
Wait, soccer tort? Soccer tort was fucking invented in 1832, Tom.
God.
In Vienna. Fucking get your pastries right. What the fuck, man?
Can I be corrected by Noah again? I like it when Noah corrects
Episode's
me.
over.
Can we start? Jesus Christ.
Jesus. Start again. Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, show where we read an article.
It's called Soccer Tort. It's from Vienna. It was made in the 1800s. And they were usually about, 3 centimeters by 5 centimeters.
Frosting
Metric.
applied at a 45-degree angle.
10 to 12 inches.
That's braggy. I don't know. Really? I feel like you're not going to use the whole
It's about circumference. Anyway,
persistence.
All about that girth. Women love girth.
okay. So getting back to the Battle of Agincourt, exactly how many of each LARPer are we talking about?
All right, so the breakdown of the 15,000 troops is 8,000 men-at-arms or knight-type fighters. These are like guys with heavy plate, big honking weapons. You get the idea.
Nope.
Then there are...
Like Lu Bu.
Pretty much like Lu Bu. Then there are 4,000 archers with regular bows and 1,500 with crossbows. And then they had 2 units of 800 and 600 cavalrymen.
Right, and those ones go up 2 spaces and then 1 over.
I think it jump. Oh, it's great. If they have a funny hat, they go diagonally and also inside young boys. That's the.
But at least you
Put
don't
the
have
hat
to
on
paint
'em.
them. So much cheaper than Warhammer. It's great.
So on the other side, on the English side, they had 1,500 men-at-arms, but they had 7,000 archers. These are English longbowmen. A much smaller force. And also 1,500 infantry attacking 8,000 is pretty much certain death or capture. You see, a knight in good plate mail back then was basically a tank. There are a few spots that they're vulnerable, but for the most part, they can go into battle and get hit with pretty much everything and withstand it. So that's not to say the other people on the field weren't armored and that every man at arms had a full set of plate mail made by a good armorer. A lower level noble might have had a set of plate that isn't up to these standards, and other soldiers of lower rank might have had mail shirts and a few hard armor parts over joints, but not something as elaborate as a full set of plate. So a good full set of plate made you very hard to kill, and it was also very expensive, which meant the people still alive on the battlefield after the battle are basically like tired turtles on their backs. And like Mario Brothers, if you have a turtle on its back, you can get coins. It turns out their families would pay a lot of ransom to get these people back.
I feel like families were tighter back then. Like if my dad got a ransom note from me, he would just like look at it and sigh, like, put it down, turn cops back on.
Yeah, we'll invade in 60 years, maybe.
Give him a
but-
50-year T-bill or something like that. We'll figure it out.
To be fair, I find that's true regardless of how armored your child is. Jean,
No.
Benet,
No.
Ramsey.
All right. Well, Cecil, it feels like we haven't even mentioned the positioning of the archers. Crazy, right? So, what's the archer situation positionally at this point?
Get into it.
Lateral. Is it a lateral? Do they shoot at a 45-degree angle for maximum
I'm not
distance?
an archer. I have
That's
no
the best
idea.
for distance.
No
You know what I
idea.
miss?
Literally no idea.
What is the draw strength on that?
No idea.
On that?
Not an archer. I wouldn't know. I'm not doing this anymore. You guys aren't fun. All right. So the French actually decide not to set up archers or to not set up archers where they're useful, it turns out.
For your information.
Okay, but I mean, are the sources good on that, or are they a little dubious, source-wise?
Perhaps they set up 1 archer or 5,000 archers. Are we? There's a error margin here.
The sources actually aren't great on this. Thanks for asking.
I didn't think they were. I didn't think they were. It sounded
And
a little
they're
crazy.
not great on why. There's 2 prevailing theories that there is either not enough room for them and the men at arms at the same time, or they just didn't think they needed them. I mean, they had 8,000 men at arms. So later in the article, it says that they were set up initially to be in front where they should have been, but then they just said, fuck it, and they put them in the back.
Look, I'm not an ancient battle tactician scholar like you are, but I sort of feel like if you have, like,
I feel like that was an insult, by the way. Like, the way you said that, it just feels like an insult. I just wanted to throw it out there. Just wanted to throw it out there.
Just say, like, if you have
It was.
fighty weapon guys, right? You should use them to fight the opposing fighty weapon guys. Like, why are they benched? Do they skip practice or something? Like they're being like, no, you didn't show up on Thursday.
Is called the coach an N-word?
Or is like behind your infantry a great place for your artillery? I don't. Seems like not back then.
Turns out no. The French, if they stay and wait for the English to attack them with their men at arms, they're still going to wipe the floor with these 1,500 English troops. And they actually have to because the English are trying to get to the sea.
Yeah, it sounds like it's about to get good. Sounds like something crazy, like some interesting, not dimensional related number thing is going to happen.
So actually, this is where the St. Crispin Day speech happened. So why don't we all sit in a semicircle at the BFA's feet?
I'm in. Eli, that's kind of like BFF, like 5 letters away. It's pretty close.
Almost hurts worse than never, Heath. Almost hurts worse than never.
And let's listen to his rendition of Shakespeare while our audience takes a break, apropos of nothing.
We few. We happy few.
Hey, sorry?
Yes. Kind of in the middle of a speech here.
I'm Alan.
Hi, Alan.
Yes, sorry, just quick question, Governor. When you say we happy few, why'll we be happy?
Oh, because you will be one of the few. You on that day will point to your scars, and lo, many men.
I'm sorry, my scars? What if we don't want scars?
Well, I mean, it's a battle.
Alan.
Alan.
Just told you.
Right. Sorry. Busy. Ruling. War.
But what with antibiotics being quite a bit of ways? What if we don't survive this year battle?
Well, then you'll be remembered in glorious and phenomenal.
What if we're terribly scarred for life? What kind of veterans care can we expect?
Well, about that, we've
I got a family to think of. I'm already 14.
Wow, you are old for now. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall ne'er go by, from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition, and gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, while any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's Day.
Nice job, Eli. I'm not sure about the costuming.
I have told you this. My penis is a dead ringer for Henry V. I will not compromise.
So weird. Mine looks like King Charles after the beheading. So.
And we're back. When we left off, we had a very good numerical understanding of the battle that was about to start. So, good topic. And now something's going to happen, Cecil?
Yeah, something is going to happen now. So the English know they need to get the other side to come to them. So they pick up the stakes that they so lovingly jammed in the ground. They walk a distance toward the French so that their archers are in range. They calmly pound the stakes back into the ground, and they let off a volley of arrows.
Those fucking stakes at this point, they better come in fucking handy. That's all I'm saying. 3 fucking times we've moved these fucking stakes. 3 times.
Also, was that a rule? Like, if they don't move the stakes, does it turn into like a backyard wiffle ball argument? Like, we said the line was from the second tree to the corner of the shed. We said, no, the second tree. It's a do-over.
Now, for what it's worth here, the French cavalry could have just decimated the archers as they set up, but they didn't. The French were surprised that the English didn't go full-blown attack, or the French cavalrymen were back watering the horses or warming themselves by the fire or checking Reddit or something.
Eating tiny little food, painting death metaphors. Just French stuff.
I'm just picturing them back there going like, hey guys, this is getting really hard to surrender to. You want to give them a head start, maybe? Move them stakes up a bit.
The rules of engagement were just confusing back then. It's like, wait, we can only hack them to death from horseback after they shoot arrows into our faces? Like, come on, like, we're civilized. Like,
So once the English start shooting arrows, the French cavalry decides to attack. A group of people shooting missiles, surrounded by wooden spikes, hemmed in by a forest. As you can imagine, it doesn't go well.
It's adorable. Cecil knows so much about this stuff. He thinks we also know which side is winning now or losing or
right? It's like when people start asking me about sports, like, who do you have in the big battle? Oh, good matchup, French and English. I don't know. Which side are you picking?
It's all about the coaches.
So if they could just, you know what? If they could just stay healthy.
Yeah, if it's a game about to happen, they've still got something to prove. If it's already happened, they got some bad calls. And if it's an athlete, but can he do it when it counts? That's you pretty much now you know how to talk sports. Sorry, Cecil, I didn't mean to throw off all your dork talk with sports stuff. You were saying about horses in costumes or something.
All right, so horses, unlike people, are actually much harder to armor.
Dress up in general, really, like not just in armor.
That's fair.
Costumes
That's fair.
generally.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bitter experience. Bitter experience.
They mostly had armor on their head and a few other spots, but that's about it. So when this several thousand longbowmen start loosing on the cavalry, they probably aren't worried about hitting the men at all. You hit a horse with an arrow and it's pretty disinterested in the rider on its back and continuing a charge for God and country.
And not surprising, even the French horses were quitters. Pussies.
There are actually accounts of these horses bolting back through the French infantry line and trampling their own troops. Stupid fucking horses.
Some of them just sit down, light up cigarettes, start talking about being and nothingness.
We lose, we die. We win, they eat us. What does it matter?
Inevitably, irrevocably. Quelle tristesse. Okay, so the cavalry charge does not work out, is what you're saying.
No, the cavalry charge is a fucking disaster, it turns out. They wind up not doing much, except they churned up the earth with the horse hooves. You see, the night before, there was a rain delay, and the lazy greenkeepers didn't get the tarp on the field to play in time, and so the field's wet, and it was also recently plowed.
Wait. Wet and recently plowed? That's the way to leave the morning. I'm off to work.
Tom's getting regular sex, ladies and gentlemen. That's what that means.
That seems fun.
Hey, he was married. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Give it a year. Go back to jerking off on the toilet like the rest of us.
All this kind of comes into play right now. The French decide not to wait any longer, and they start closing the gap between the two lines of men-at-arms, and they start marching.
Yeah, come on, guys. The business end of melee weapons can't be less pleasant than just being French. I mean,
Jesus Christ, man.
But they're the only people in the world that don't speak English. They're not listening.
Okay, so for anyone taking the SATs, Noah is to France as Eli is to Boston. Just a fun way to play along.
It seems like a great plan. Like, how do you motivate the next set of troops for this? Like, hey, like all our horse guys now have sticks in their eyes. So, hey, you don't have a horse. Why don't you go wade through the mud yourself? You'll do a lot better than our horse guys. Those horse guys didn't work
They're
out.
actually clamoring to do this. See, these people want to get paid. It says in the article they all want to be up front so they can be the first to grab some noble and cash in. So there's a bunch of them all clamoring to march anyway, and many of the nobles want to be in the vanguard against the suggestions of many of the veteran knights.
Yeah, again, look, I like money and ransoming people to the highest bidder as much as the next guy, but I really like not being fucking dead. Like much more.
Fair.
Like way more.
So it's just a bunch of fat kids in metal suits wrestling their way to the front of a marathon, basically, just trampling over the canyons, trying to get to the front.
Where's a shoddily constructed molasses silo when you need one, right? This would be an amazing story.
So the good thing is that the French nobles probably have some great armor. And now, as I said earlier, people in good armor probably have very little to worry about. Arrows are just going to bounce off them mostly. But there are some spots that they're vulnerable. You can take one in the limbs that are not as heavily armored, or in the eye slot.
Niche, but hot.
Also,
The Asian version is the best. Because of the different shaped eye slots.
also, even if the arrow didn't penetrate, this would probably fucking hurt a lot. And this isn't getting plunked by one or two arrows once in a while. This is thousands of archers that are shooting their arrows at you, and you're getting hammered the whole distance.
So everyone's just like yelling at each other from inside giant metal helmets. Like, I called front row. What? What? I can't hear what you're saying. I'm taking off my helmet. Splat. Just arrow to the face.
Also, as I mentioned earlier, it's fucking muddy, and these knights are up to their knees in mud. They're trudging across a battlefield, getting pounded in the armor with arrows. And needless to say, some of them fall, and the crush behind them just tramples them because the people in the back want to get some of that sweet ransom money too. And the author states that some of these knights actually fell down and they drowned in their own helmets.
Drowned?
Yes, that's what
It
it says.
seems like you'd have time to avoid that, wouldn't you? Like you're watching mud slowly get higher in your helmet. Maybe open the helmet. Open the eye slit. Open the fucking eye slit.
Door. Yeah, well, but he's sitting there thinking, okay, do I die an arrow to the head, crushed by my greedy teammates, or drowning in puke mud in the spontaneous urine of terrified horses?
Either way, I think we can all agree that the National Football League sees no correlation between...
Well, the battlefield, like I mentioned earlier, I gave you the exact dimensions. So the battlefield
What were those dimensions,
is
by the
narrow.
way?
You can go back if you want and listen to that portion again.
It was 690 meters. I think that's 700 yards. depending if
750
you're-
yards. Thank you. The battlefield's
What was it in
it's
cubits?
narrow. I'm
Cubits?
just gonna keep soldiering on like these fucking dumb French people. So it's narrow, and it basically funnels the French troops right into the English, and it doesn't really let the French use their superior numbers. So to summarize, the soldiers that fall probably die or can't get up. The soldiers that get shot also don't make it. And the ones that do make it to the English line are about as tired as Forrest Gump after he carried his legless friend around all day.
They finally get to the English. Fuck, hold on. Quick time out. All right, puke and rally. Just one more second. All right, we're fighting.
Very funny. A lot of people need to do that between billiard shots, bro. We're not all athletic.
You know, it'd be that one guy though up front who's like not even winded, just bouncing on his fucking toes and grinning and shouting beast mode and like posting for pictures of the field he just crossed and putting on Instagram, like hashtag ready for battle. Hashtag rise and grind. Hashtag get fit or die trying.
Do you think
hate
that guy
that guy.
calls himself coach?
The rest of us don't hang out with that guy. That's just you, Tommy. That's just you and your
It's not flattering to me. That is not a flattering truth.
So the French actually do make it to the opposing line and they push it back. Or the line just fell back because the archers are basically right on the flanks of the French line. So the archers dropped their bows and grabbed hatchets and mallets and other weapons and attacked the sides in a sort of reverse Jaws of life. It's like the same action as the Jaws, just a different result from life.
The French should have just shot the scuba tank. Like it works
Every time.
Boom. Done.
One thing to remember here is that the archers are not nobles. In fact, one of the accounts of the French thought so little of these archers that they didn't even count their number. The French pretty much ignored the archers, and well, back then you just couldn't ignore poor people, I guess.
Yeah, poor people were white for a long time, actually, throughout like European history. There's a lot of parts of the world times when they were white. True story.
Ugh, I don't even like to think about it.
Look, I get being a classist prick, but I think ignoring anyone that is shooting at you actively rises to like a new level of arrogance, like an Eli level of arrogance.
Okay. First of all, big words for a man who lives in Chicago. Second of all, I hate poor people without discrimination. I hate them because they're poor. Because of it, that they did a bad job of being rich.
So, Cecil, if you were going to pick one word, you describe this as a slaughter?
Yeah, pretty much a slaughter, I would say. It's the battle's raging. The archers come in from the sides and just decimate them. The King of England at one point hears his brother, the Duke of Gloucester's injured. He grabs his peeps and he rolls over to protect him while those people pull the Duke out of the fighting. The king at this point gets hit in the head with an axe and it fucks up his crown on his helmet, but he's totally fine.
Sounds like bullshit. I feel like he just wanted an axe stuck in his helmet to look badass later.
Right, yeah.
It's like the bench warmer kid who like slides in the dirt after the baseball game so his pants look like he played for a little bit.
Anything for the snow cone, am I right?
You don't get a snow cone for that.
Wait a second. He wore a crown on his helmet? That's gotta look silly as fuck, like an astronaut with a giant baseball cap on.
It was actually a giant novelty crown that he had on his
Like a Burger King one? Like a Burger King kid's crown? You know, I think if I had a fucking crown, I think that means that like I'm in more of a supervisory role in this battle. Like, honestly, like what good is having the crown if it means you have to wade in among all the people looking to score you to hold as ransom for your fucking crown?
At some point, there's an attack on Henry's luggage caravan.
His his wife must have packed it for him. You're going to need 6 foot. Okay, go on. You couldn't carry on?
You need
He
2
can't carry on.
swimsuits. 2 swimsuits. 2. Like, you're going to wear a swimsuit, and then you're going to be like, but I don't want to wear the same swimsuit tomorrow. Everyone will judge me.
So they actually take a bunch of his shit, including a crown,
Which was all fucked up from an axe.
Yeah. No, he's still wearing that one. Henry's pissed, and he's also scared at this point. He has what is estimated at several thousand French troops in captivity, and the way it reads, his prisoners outnumber his force by a lot. He also hears rumors that the French are mounting a counterattack, and these prisoners could easily join in the fight, so he decides to kill them or kill a lot of them.
All of this from lost luggage? Like, can you imagine if they made him switch seats?
Motherfucker would still be tweeting about it. Yeah.
All right, so killing all the POWs, is that like a normal protocol? Or
No, it's not actually. It's not. It turns out that a lot of his nobles disagreed. They call this battle one of the monikers is the death of chivalry. Yeah, so it's a pretty unchivalrous to just murder the other side after they surrender. But he says either it's them or you, and the English chose them.
Well, and to be fair, we learned in 1940 that the French would have made the same decision if they'd had it on their side, too.
Exactly.
So
In the end, the lowest estimate has the English losing 6 times less people than the French.
Or 60 times, depending on the eyewitness. We don't know. Could go
Actually,
orders
the
of
lowest estimate would still be the same. Because it's
A
the
ratio
lowest
of
estimate.
6 to 1? Is that what you're saying? 6 to 1 ratio. Jesus.
45,
This is riveting.
45-degree angle, guys. 45.
When does the battle start?
So in the end, a large force of really heavily favored troops lost, and everyone remembers the battle when the cocky guy gets his.
all right, so if you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, Cecil, what would that sentence be?
Well, it would actually be 2 sentences. Turns out. Don't count your ransom when you're fighting in the battle. There'll be plenty left to pick through when the war is done.
Nice. All right.
It's good advice. All right, you ready for that quiz, Cecil?
I am. I'm as ready as a Frenchman that just marched across a river of mud.
All right, Cecil. The French lost the Battle of Agoraphobia because they refused to take poor people seriously and they were greedy. So what are some common shorthand terms for this? A, hubris. B, pomposity. C, arrogance. D, republicanism.
I'm going to go D on this one. It's
all right.
definitively
Yeah,
D.
you got it.
I'm living history right now.
All right, Cecil, after slogging through the indecipherable gibberish that is the information that you love the most, what should next week's episode be if we're going to follow the theme? Is it A, Eli's Guide to Celebrities Who Have Killed Themselves and or Other People?
Jesus Christ.
B, Tom's tour of heavy things he can lift up quickly? C, Heath's Scotch Sampling and History Hour?
I like that one.
Or D, People Noah Hates, Part 1 of 85.
I feel like D is just a ripoff of Scathing Atheist. So
That's a-
232-parter and counting.
Short on the parts, if we're being fair.
I'm gonna go. Heath Scotch Sampling and History Tour. That sounds
I'd like to take that
fascinating. That
tour
sounds
as well,
fucking
actually.
fascinating.
That is correct. That is next week's
All right,
episode.
next week is canceled, and we're just going to do that.
The whole week is canceled, not just the episode. Okay, so as bad as this was, it was nowhere near the biggest embarrassment in French history. So, according to a 2017 French survey I made up for the purposes of this question, what is the most humiliating thing about being French?
Jesus, why do they hate the French so much?
They won't learn fucking English. A, the freedom fry thing. That stung more than they let on. They tried to act like it was not a big deal. Was it B, the fact that their iconic architectural structure is a fucking radio antenna? Is it
It's a big one.
Is C, the fact that all of their restaurants have the kind of shit Eli eats? Or is it D, a tie between every French military engagement since the Flemish whipped their asses in 1302?
Oh, shit.
I think could see the fact that all their restaurants have the kind of shit that Eli eats.
That is a good guess. That's what I was expecting, but no, it is the freedom fry thing. They clung to that.
about that. My goodness.
These are people who eat snails, man. The fried potato wedge is all they had to hang on to. The only thing anyone else wanted to eat. So,
All right, Noah, congrats on being the only person to stump the expert. And that means you get to choose Eli as the essay writer for next week. Who would you like to pick?
I will pick Eli as the essay writer for next week.
All right. And here's Lucinda with last week's Twitter winner and this week's audience question. Lucinda.
Thanks, Heath. So last week, we had 2.3 million gallons of molasses covering Boston, and we asked you to combine it with some other stuff lying around in the streets and offer up your best dishes. And this week's winner is at Conscious Deer 88, who had going for a recipe with molasses, shoe fly pie, now containing actual flies and molasses-drowned resident shoes. We had a bunch of great ones, but this is the only one that really made me hungry. So congratulations at Conscious Deer 88. All right. Now, obviously, the only reason the French lost is because the guys weren't there to help. So for this week's Twitter question, we want to know which citation-needed host you think could have swung the battle and how they'd have done it. Just retweet this week's episode or share it on Facebook along with your answer for a chance to win. Win what? Quit asking so many questions. Back to you, Heath.
All right. Well, for Cecil, Tom, Eli, and Noah, I'm Heath. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, Eli will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, check out Tom and Cecil on their show that's as hard as 3 shows to produce, Cognitive Dissonance. They spend days and days ahead of time writing up their hilarious ideas. And also check out Eli, Noah, and myself on our 3 completely effortless improvised shows, The Scathing Atheist, The Skeptic Rat, and God Awful Movies. We're exactly as funny as our laughter makes it sound. And if you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a glowing review anywhere you can. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes. Be sure to check out citationpod.com. Jumanji.
We need a catchphrase. We need catchphrases.
That's not our catch.
Long tail marketing.
Jesus.
I had to mute at I'm going to touch your neck because you're all neck.
Feel bad. Like, you guys can all just button a shirt. Like, no problem. Whatever.
I'd
Fuck
love
you.
to see you in a gorget. Actually, it's neck armor is
Do you have
like
an 18
literally
inch,
what it is.
Can I get an 18-inch gorget? And that'd be fine.
You'd have to get one with like a strappy
Basically
bit on
French
it.
for fat thingy. Pretty sure.
I need the gorget with 2 seatbelts.
Tom just has to hire a shieldman to stand in front of his neck. You know?
they're like, sir, you're protected except for your neck. It's like, that's my own. God damn it.
He took a spear to the throat. I mean, he literally couldn't take it anywhere else.
I mean, the spear thrower closed his eyes and stood in the other direction and hit him in the neck.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.